Hello, I've been doing some more work on this wooden 400 size quadcopter, and I don't think I mentioned last time, but one of the reasons that I wanted to keep the top part of it all completely flat with all the electronics inside is that I wanted to add a gimbal mounting plate like this that spans the whole length of the quad from front to back, and the battery can sit on top of it here. So that's the reason why it was totally flat. So I've done that now. So I thought I'd just make a video to show quickly what I changed, and then I'll just play some video that I got from recording through the gimbal and stuff, so you can see what kind of a result it got. Actually got a fairly decent result for the first time ever of all these quads that I've built. But all it is a long thin piece of plywood that's just a little bit thinner than the quad itself, and it just sits on there like that. So I had to move the GPS module to the side to get it to fit, of course. And then on the front of that I just bolted the rear piece of the gimbal that I'd made earlier, and I extended it out to the side a little bit because one other thing that I'd planned to do was use the extremely wide part of these wings here in this plywood piece to offer some lateral stabilization for the gimbal mounting plate. So that was actually part of my plan. That's why they're so wide. They didn't really need to be that wide otherwise. So anyway, I just put a bunch of rubber damping boards there, 8 in total. So there's a few more at the front than there is at the back. So this is where the battery goes, and these are the ones that I was saying, they're wider at the front like that. So that's how everything sits on there, and it puts the center of gravity very, very far forward, but fortunately not so far forward enough that when I put the batteries on at the rear like that, I'm using a separate battery for the gimbal. Fortunately the center of gravity comes, would you believe, exactly there. So I was quite pleased about that, because I thought I might have to try and put this battery right at the back or something like that. The other thing that's not very convenient is that this vertical post here is, where it is at the moment at least, it places a limit on how far you can put this battery to the rear. But anyway, the center of gravity worked out quite well. And have any more photos? Oh yeah, this part didn't work out quite so well because I'm now limited to using 8-inch props in the current setup, because where the gimbal sits, it's exactly at the same level as the props. So that part of the design was not very clever, I have to admit. So if you can see, we look at it from the side, the props are coming exactly there, and there's only a tiny little bit of room. So I can't use 9-inch props even if I wanted to at the moment. That's okay, because I found with this frame that 8-inch props were the best so far. These are the carbon reinforced HQ props, I think they're called. And I also changed the motors to get a little bit more smoother flight. I'm using Sunny Sky 2208s. I got these from Banggood, and they were not fake, fortunately. So they are much smoother spinning motors. So yeah, I think I showed this gimbal before, but it's just a simple, the BRUGI software running on a simple gimbal controller. And it works pretty well. I spent some more time tuning it than I did earlier last year, but it didn't. It's still not quite right. It overcompensates when you're turning. So if you look at the horizon in the video as I play it, you'll see that when it turns to one side, the horizon will go off angle for a while, and then when it stops turning, it will gradually come back. So it's still not quite tuned correctly, but it's a lot better tuned than last time I tried this with the that funny square-shaped quadcopter. But as you can see, it's fairly stable. So anyway, I'll just the weight I think is about a little over 800 grams without the battery at the moment. So it's not too heavy, but these props are, I think, a little bit smaller than they should be, because when you're flying it, it feels heavy. It feels like you need a fair bit of throttle to get it to move around. So it doesn't feel very agile, but that's okay for a video platform, I think. Anyway, I'll just play the video that I got the other day, and you can see for yourself how the video quality turned out with this.